Hello, I'm Joe Clark, and this is the first of a series of films about cruise ships. The cruise industry is booming at the moment, and new ships are being built all the time. They seem to get bigger and bigger. When I was a lad, I marvelled at the first Queen Elizabeth, a ship of over 80,000 gross registered tons, bigger even than the Normandy. Nowadays, ships of over 100,000 tons seem to be the norm. Anyway, here are some of the cruise ships that I and some of my friends filmed last year, 2015. So we make a start with the Ida Bella, which we see here in the Caribbean. She was built by Meyer Werft Papenburg in Germany. She's just over 69,000 tons and began cruising for AIDA in 2008. So a little bit about the AIDA Cruises. The company was originally founded as Deutsche Serenade, with a ship called the Volksfreundschaft, which translates as Friendship Between Peoples, and they entered the cruise industry in the 1960s. The company was acquired by P&O Princess Cruises in 2000, and in 2003 P&O Princess merged with Carnival Corporation. So our next ship is the AIDA Blue, which began her career in 2010. She was built in Germany by Meyer Werft, and she cruises mainly between Palma and Madeira. We see her here slowly backing into Funchal Harbour. She's operated before as Ocean Village and also worked on the Australian coast. We can leave her here safely tied up in Funchal. We now watch Ida Cara as she passes Dunnet Head. She was built by Caverna Massa in Finland and came into service in 1996 as the AIDA for Deutsche Seetouristik Arena Reisen. She was renamed in 1999 Ida Cara when she came under the ownership of AIDA Cruises. She was last refitted in 2005. And last of all of the AIDA ships, the AIDA Stella, another one from the Meyer Werft yard. Our first cruise was in 2013, and she's over 71,000 tons. She's seen here tied up in Funchal Harbour. Our next ship is the Azzurra of P&O Cruises. She was built by Fincantieri in Italy. Her maiden cruise was in 2010. We see her here as she enters the Western Docks in Southampton. Later the same day she emerges from behind the Holiday Inn hotel. She's wearing the new colours of P&O with the Union Jack painted on the bow and the blue funnel. Azura, like some of the P&O ships, was originally registered in the United Kingdom, but because they wanted to hold weddings on board and that was not permitted under British registration, they moved the flag to Hamilton, Bermuda. We'll leave Azura now as she passes Town Quay on her way down Southampton Water. Fred Olsen's Boudicca is seen here in Southampton. She was built originally as the Royal Viking Star by Wärtsilä in Helsinki. Her other names have been Sunward, Burka Queen, Golden Prince, Superstar Capricorn, Hyundai Kyonggang, and finally Grand Latino until Fred Olsen bought her in 2005. She looks quite pretty lit up at night. We see the Celebrity Infinity in Saint Martin in the Caribbean. She was built by Chantiers d'Atlantique. She's a Millennium class ship. And when not cruising in the Caribbean, which she does in the summer season, she cruises in Alaskan waters during the winter season. Built for Costa Croisiere by Fincantieri in Italy, the Costa Magica is a Destiny-class ship. We see her here as she anchors in Tortola in the Virgin Islands. These pictures were taken by Brian Simmons as he cruised from Southampton across the Atlantic to the Caribbean and then back again to Southampton. A short clip of the Crown Princess. She was built by Fincantieri for the Princess Cruise Lines. She's a Grand Class cruise ship. Empress, built by Chantier d'Atlantique Saint-Nazaire in France as Nordic Empress for Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines in 1990. She was renamed in 2004 Empress of the Seas, and then again in 2008 Empress. She's operated here by Pullmantur Cruises. She was filmed by Michael Whittingham when he was on a Norwegian cruise in Oriana. Built by Blohm & Voss, we see the Explorer here as a semester at the sea ship sponsored by the University of Virginia. She's in Southampton. When she sailed later that night, she sailed out as the Celestial Odyssey under new ownership. Royal Caribbean Cruise Line ship Legend of the Seas, built by Chantier d'Atlantique and in service since 1995. She's the most travelled ship of the Royal Caribbean line. We see her here in Norwegian waters. There's some lovely pictures of her leaving port. These scenes were also filmed by Michael Whittingham whilst on that cruise. Richard Clark, who lives Dunnet Head, filmed Magellan on her first year of cruising for the Cruise and Maritime Group. She was built in 1985 as a holiday carnival, and then from 2010 to 2014 as Grand Holiday, and then here in 2015 as a cruise maritime ship. She's sailing between the mainland of Scotland and the Orkneys. Mein Schiff 3 was built by STX Finland of Turku in Finland. Her first cruise was in 2014 for TUI Cruises. We see her here leaving Funchal in Madeira. She's based in Palma. She's said to be a very environmentally friendly ship with special power plants. Built by Chantier de Atlantique Saint-Nazaire as European Vision for Festival Cruises in 2001, the MSC Harmonia became an MSC ship in 2014 and was redecorated throughout. She's seen here also leaving Funchal in Madeira. She's a very good-looking ship, despite the tennis court beyond the funnel aft. There's quite a few passengers on the top deck watching her sail. When we stay in Madeira, we try and stay at the Porto Santo Maria, which overlooks the harbour and gives you a good view of the ships coming in and going out. A lovely scene as we see the MSC Harmonia disappearing behind the buildings. You have to get up early if you want to watch these ships coming in, but here we see MSC Fantasia. She was built by STX Europe Saint-Nazaire, France for MSC, and she first cruised in 2005. She comes as far as she can forwards and then turns and backs slowly into Funchal Harbour. Her cruise passengers, or guests if you like to call them that, will have a day in the harbour and around the town, see as much as they can before they sail again at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Another ship built by Chantier de Atlantique, the MSC Musica, has been in service since 2006. She cruises in the Med in the summer and on South American routes in the winter. We see her here in Antigua in the Caribbean, which of course contradicts everything I've just said. Nevertheless, that's what the books say. The last of the guests are on board, and the MSC Musica should shortly depart. It appears we've been waiting for the agents to come off. They seem pretty well stocked with duty-frees, or whatever. Just about every ship in the harbour blew their sirens. Seems they're glad to get rid of her. What a cacophony! Built by Volkswerft GmbH Stralsund, Germany, Nautilus is operated by Hertigen and made her first voyage in 1994. The Norwegian Spirit started life as Superstar Leo, built by Meerwerft, Germany in 1998. She was purchased by Norwegian Cruise Lines in 2004. We see Norwegian Spirit as she enters Funchal Harbour in the spring of 2015. Again, she'll stay from about 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, which gives the passengers, or guests if you like to call them that, a full day ashore. A number of those guests will choose to go on an excursion which involves the cable car to the top, where you can visit some gardens and then come all the way down, if you wish, by sledge. An exhilarating experience. Oceana was built by Fincantieri as Ocean Princess in 2000 and transferred to P&O in 2002. She's registered in Bermuda. She's a Sun-class cruise ship. Her last refit was in 2012. We see her here as she approaches Funchal. She's in her new livery with the Union Jack and the blue funnel. And now we're seeing Oceana as she departs from Funchal. We next see her in Southampton, and we're going to join her for a cruise to the Caribbean. The first port of call is Antigua, where she's alongside MSC Musica. They're repainting the Union Jack on the bow. There's a sail away party from each port. They got noisier and noisier. In Tortola there was the opportunity to watch some dolphins or you could go to the town, which you had to do by ship's boat. We see her here in St. Lucia. And we'll leave Oceania as she has another sail away party from Barbados before returning across the Atlantic to Southampton. And now to the Oriana II, built by Mayor Weft Papenburg for P&O in 1994. She made her first cruise in 1995 and is now registered in Bermuda. A glass of the best bubbly before we sail, sir? We're going to have a look around the ship. Here we're in the atrium. Now we're in the Lord Taverner's bar. Regrettably, the weather wasn't particularly clement. But a friendly welcome aboard, a chance to get dry, and then you can go and sit in one of the lovely lounges. Maybe watch a film in the cinema, or catch up on your reading in the library, which is so well stocked. This is one of the two main dining rooms. This is the show lounge. Oriana has a lovely promenade deck, so reminiscent of the liners of old. If you don't fancy eating formally, you can always go to the cafeteria. Passengers going ashore from the ship in Garensfjord. The scenery really is magnificent. So we're going to leave Oriana there. Built by T. Mariotti in Genoa, Italy in 2003 and operated by Regent's Seven Seas Cruises. We see the Seven Seas Voyager as she heads towards the passage between Scotland and the Orkneys. These pictures were taken by Richard Clack. In the background you see the Old Man of Hoy. – 2015 proved to be a really miserable summer in the north of Scotland, and Richard was unable to get too many ships to film this time, but we look forward to next year. Brian Simmons on his trip in Oceania took these films of the Star Clipper. We see her first in Antigua. built by Scheepswerven van Langenbrugge in Belgium and registered in Malta. She cruises in the Caribbean and offers charters. We get a close-up here of the top deck. From brochures I've seen, she's most luxurious inside. The Oceana caught up with her again in Barbados. The Star Legend was also one of those ships seen going through the straits between Scotland and the Orkneys and passing the Old Man of Hoy. The Star Legend was originally Seabourn Legend. She was built in 1990 by Schischau Seebergwerft in Germany for the Seabourn Company, and she's recently been taken over by Windstar Cruises and renamed Star Legend. Thompson Majesty, seen here entering Funchal, was built as Royal Majesty in 1992. In 1997 she became the Norwegian Majesty, and in 2009 Louis Majesty. Since 2012 she's been chartered by Louis Cruises to Thompson Company and has been renamed Thompson Majesty, and she's registered in Malta. We come now to some film of the three Queens in Liverpool in 2015 to celebrate Cunard's 175th anniversary. The Queen Mary had been in Liverpool overnight and was now coming out to meet her two younger sisters, Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Victoria. The pictures were filmed by Stuart Davis, who filmed in the morning when the ships were coming in, rather than later in the afternoon as they went out. Here we get a first glimpse of the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Victoria, shrouded in mist. Queen Mary II was built by STX Europe, Chantier d'Atlantique, for Cunard, and she's registered in Bermuda. She has now come down the Mersey and is turning to let both of her sisters pass her, as they all make their way up to Liverpool for the big day. We get a slightly better view now of the Queen Elizabeth and the Queen Victoria as they come up towards the Queen Mary. This is the third Queen Elizabeth. She was built for Carnival by Monfalcone in Italy and is registered in Bermuda. The Queen Victoria was also built for Carnival, this time by Fincantieri Marghera in Italy, and she's also registered in Bermuda. The two ships process up towards their big sister. And we now get our first view of the procession. Queen Elizabeth is about to pass the Queen Mary. Now it's the turn of the Queen Victoria. You can see the difference between her and the Queen Elizabeth. The superstructure on the Queen Elizabeth at the after end goes straight down, whereas on the Queen Victoria it slopes down gradually, deck by deck. The Queen Victoria is now passing the Queen Mary. We can watch them now as they process up the Mersey towards their assigned positions before this afternoon's big show. And with a last look at the Queen Mary, we're going to end our first film of cruise ships in 2015.